Good evening. Chair Hansen will invite us onto the land. Either way.
I don't have to stand, so thank you. I would like to welcome everybody. What a nice, wonderful group of people tonight. And I just want to welcome you to Seattle, the land of the Duwamish, the people of the inside. And I hope that you enjoy this evening with the Reverend, and I guess me.
St. Mark's Cathedral acknowledges that we gather on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people who are still here, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the life of the Duwamish tribe. Let us continue in prayer. Creator of earth, sea, and sky, source of breath and being, may we turn toward one another with courage to listen, to learn, to restore, and to carry the stories and connections of land and peoples, to discover that in the spaces in between, we can find you there, to follow the way of love and justice. Creator of earth, sea, and sky, source of breath and being, we pray in gratitude for your ever-unfolding presence here, this night, and always. Amen.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you all, and welcome to St. Mark's Cathedral this evening. We're glad that you've come out, and to those that are joining via the live stream, we're delighted for you to be here as well. It is quite an honor for us to welcome into this space the Honorable Cecile Hansen, who is the great-great-grandniece of Chief Seattle, and since 1975 has served as the elected chair of the Duwamish tribe. She is also the founding director of the Duwamish Tribal Services, and that was an instrumental organization leading to the construction of the Longhouse on West Marginal Way. This evening has been we were just conferring, it's been about 2 years in the making. We've been talking back and forth about this. And what Chair Hansen told me a couple of weeks ago when we finally locked in on the date was she wants us to keep it simple tonight. We're not saging or smudging. We didn't provide music tonight. She wanted to capitalize on the hour that we have with one another for us to really achieve two objectives that we've discussed about. One is learning more about the Duwamish, and secondly, how we as a faith community and as individuals can be supportive allies in the causes of the Duwamish tribe. Our evening will be guided in what we call our Friends Talking format, where Chair Hansen and I will have a little bit of dialogue for a few minutes, and then we'll open it up for anyone to stand and ask a question of Chair Hansen, and we'll say more about that when we get to that part of the evening. We will ask that you use the microphone, which our senior warden who offered the land acknowledgement and opening prayer, Emily Meeks, will come to your place and you can stand there. But you need to speak into the microphone for the folks on the live stream to be able to hear you as well. Our plan is to conclude no later than 7:30, but we'll see where the energy is, and we'll take our cues from Chair Hansen. And we are so delighted that you're here with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. My first question really is about...
Is this okay?
Yeah, I think
okay,
it's on.
Okay.
Yeah. Many of us will know some of the parts of the history of the Duwamish tribe. The Treaty of Point Elliott, for example, was a seminal event. Chief Seattle, you were just telling me that they didn't ask his permission to take his name for our city, the whole issue there. But the Duwamish are intentional to say, we are still here. Can you say a bit about why that is and what's behind that statement, we are still here?
Well, what's been happening, they keep saying there was no Duwamish, and having reviewed or I've known of my background and about the history, I said, and for when we first started out on this proving who we were, which was in the 70s, well, I'll tell a little story about that, how I got involved. I was just a stay-at-home mom, taking care of my family. And my brother was fishing in the Duwamish River, and he would come to me, be so irritated because he'd come to my house because I was about 2 miles from the Duwamish River, and he was upset because the Department of Fisheries would cite him for fishing. And so they give him a ticket so he'd come to my house to rant and rave a little bit, and then he'd calm down. Well, this one particular time he came and he said, calm down. He said, you know, you've got to get involved. And I said, what do I have to do? And he said, oh, just go to a few meetings. Well, it's 1974. Well, then I start moving around and going to meeting with the Department of Fisheries and meeting with different Native Americans and groups and everything. And then he said, you have to... then the following year, when I got involved with the tribal council, they elected me chair. Well, I was clueless. What does a chair do? Well, having thought, I said, well, what is this tribe? And I knew my background, and I thought, well, I'm Duwamish, and what's going on? I guess we're going to fight for fishing rights. Well, we did, and then the Judge Bolts ruled against us when we finally went to court, which was disgusting because a lot of our fishermen, they went to fish other places, which was the right to do because that was my brother's livelihood was to support his family fishing. So anyway, and then he ordered me to join the Small Tribes of Western Washington, which was an organization where there was recognized and landless tribes involved in this group. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm honored to join all these people at their meetings, and I'll listen to what they're doing. And I learned a lot by listening to the leaders from all the recognized tribes in the Pacific, from the Samish way down to the Shoalwater Bay, which is in the Pacific County. And I learned a lot by just listening. So there's a clue here. If you listen, you learn a lot. I did. That was my thing, that to learn and to find out about our tribe. But what happened was after we lost our fishing rights, in our wisdom at our council, we said, well, we'll just sign on this petition. We'll tell the federal government who we are. So we started that in about 1977 or 76, and did the research and talked to elders and did everything to prove these 7 questions and to send it into the federal government. Well, finally, after all those years, to 2001, they said that we didn't exist, and that really threw us off because there's Duwamish people all over the place, and so I said, well, we're still here.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we're not sitting on a reservation, because the treaty, when we signed the treaty, or when our leaders signed the treaty, they were supposed to give us a reservation. And the settlers didn't want us here, so they kicked us out. So, but we didn't go anywhere because we're still here. Not out in the bushes, but we were all over the place. I mean, we stayed and we existed, and we became Native Americans, urban Indians. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that help you a little bit?
Yeah. Thank you for that. You know, there was a 2018 article in Indian Country Today that said the Duwamish are, quote, working for restoration, not recognition. And the Duwamish tribe's website states the tribe began their efforts to restore our recognition in 1978. Words matter, Chair Hansen, so I would ask you, what's been your experience in this long journey, and where does that matter stand currently? the restoration of recognition? Or what are the words that you would use as you continue this cause?
Well, I don't believe that we're seeking recognition because Duwamish is still here. I believe that we need to acknowledge having the first Duwamish leaders signed a treaty in 1855. It's what was the Duwamish and the Suquamish people. Therefore, and we've done the research, that treaty is still in existence. It's not void, it's not nowhere, it's still there. So therefore, Duwamish do exist. But because they made that decision that we didn't exist, we are trying to restore our status as the Duwamish people of Seattle. Does that help you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What's been your experience of that fight and that cause? Has it been difficult?
Well, not really. I kind of reviewed myself about being very extremely busy traveling and advocating, and then next thing I know, I'm traveling back in D.C. advocating, knocking on doors back in D.C., which was quite an adventure because have never been to Washington, D.C., and to join the National Congress of American Indians, which was it's an entity where all the tribes join all over the United States. It's well known, and then there's another affiliated tribes. That was to mingle with all the tribes and let them know, because we were not the only tribe in the state of Washington. When I started out in this battle, there was 8 tribes trying to seek acknowledgement or recognition, and they all went through the process, got recognized, and some were denied, like the Snohomish and the what's the other tribe? The Duwamish got turned against, and the Snoqualmie, they got it delayed, and anyway, there was tribes that did not get acknowledged. But anyway, we were the ones, the tribe that was going to continue on to prove who we were. It's really aggravating, but it's also a struggle that I said, and my kids would say to Mom, when are you going to quit? And I said, well, when they return the status to the tribe, then I will quit. And I just realized I've been doing this for over almost 47 years.
Right, 47.
And and I thought, well, what was these other leaders doing when they're battling for it? So I don't think it's not that hard to try to succeed and to change this status of the Duwamish tribe, because I'm honored to be related to the chief. Well, they named a city after this chief, and it seems as if they got to honor the people who are Duwamish.
Yeah.
Can I share another issue that
Please.
happened today? I got an email from a friend of ours, and we're trying to advocate for tribes to come out and support us. So the lady who works for us, she's been calling up tribes. We want to meet with individual to get a resolution to support us. And this article came out, and it's from Suquamish, and they were saying that we don't have a right to even seek acknowledgement because they are the Duwamish. Well, if they're Duwamish, why aren't they in the battle with us?
Yeah.
See, the chief had a mother that was Duwamish, and the father was Suquamish. Mm-hmm. And my grandma, my mom's mom, is buried next to the chief, which is over in Suquamish. My mother was raised over there in Suquamish, so I'm Suquamish. I'm not going to deny that I ain't Suquamish, but I have been Duwamish because I've been advocating for the return of our status. And so if anybody wants to fight with me about, well, who are you? Well, I'm a descendant of different tribes. And another thing, which I get kind of offended, but then it's not my fault. It's that my folks lived up in Tulalip, and that was where I born, and I'm not Tulalip.
Yeah.
I say that very strongly, but I found out that my mom and dad were there, living there, and my aunt, my uncle were there, and so my cousins were born there, and I was born there, but I found out later that they had me register as a Tulalip, and I said, please take me off because I'm not. I was relating to the Suquamish and the Duwamish. That's who I am. And Tulalip is a reservation, but it isn't it is not a tribe. But they are a tribe, which that's okay. I can't take that away from them because the federal government gave them this reservation, and they're a Tulalip, and gave them money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chair Hansen, I think many of us are aware of some of the intertribal disputes related to the Duwamish legitimacy of the claim of recognition or restoration. We have no interest in becoming involved in that, but we do want to understand better why that is and how we can be supportive, because this cathedral clearly stands on Duwamish land, and we're very clear with our commitment of real rent to the Duwamish tribe and our deepening of relationship, that the relationship with the Duwamish is primary for us without any dispute with anyone else. But can you say why there is this intertribal tension about this issue?
I think it's money. I think it's casinos. I have never in our council meeting all these years that I've chaired had any of our people say, well, we have to have a casino. That has not been our goal. It's been the restoration of our status. I had a chance to go meet with the leadership of the Suquamish, trying to find out what was their problem. And they didn't want to talk about it. And then this article came out today where we're not who we are, and that's very offensive. But then, if they say they're Duwamish, then they better join the battle with us. And one of our people is going to send that question over there. Also, I understand the tribe down in Auburn. There's opposition from them too. And we've tried to meet with them to ask what their problem is their issue. Why can't they share that with us? And other than being outspoken against us, they won't give us a reason. And I don't understand it, because if they can be so vocal in their opposition, why can't they just tell us why? But I really believe it's casinos. And I was joking one time. I was speaking at a college downtown, and was getting a little weary. And I said, I have to tell a joke. So I said, this is a secret, you guys. I mean, this was a graduation. And I said, this is a secret, so don't tell anybody. And it was a graduation class, and it was full. I said, I just want to let you know. I said, they accuse us of wanting a casino. I want a casino, but I want to have a casino in the middle of Elliott Bay. And I said, don't you guys tell anybody about, and just kind of lighten up their party,
Yeah.
But no, it's never been our position that's what we wanted. Because as the Duwamish people, it's right that we have the rightful status back. And that we can, and one of the other things I've been thinking now as the last couple years, if we get our status back, our priority is to help the homeless people. I get very sad when I see all these villages all over, and they're getting kicked out. We need to do more for them. And you talk about the opposition, and I'm going to ask this church to be our ally, and ask the Suquamish people, could you tell us why you're against the Duwamish? I'm going to challenge you, Reverend.
Yeah, well, we're not against. So our vestry leadership a few years ago made the decision to begin paying real rent instead of to the Coast Salish. Generally, we've been paying real rent in that program of the Duwamish because we're seeking the deeper relationship and how to be faithful allies and support for the Duwamish. So let me ask you, what does the tribe expect from people like us who truly want to respond to the injustices done to the tribe?
Well, it's a good thing, and it's a good thing you brought that up because today I wanted to know we have over 100,000 people who have signed the petition for acknowledgement to come back. So you all sign, and it'll get more stronger. Also, I love anybody who's a real renter. So if they introduce Cecile, I say, oh my God, I love you, because you know what they're doing. With what we're doing with this money, we're able to do more to help ourselves, but also to advocate and to try to correct the wrong, not only for ourselves but for the community too. Mm-hmm. And there's 20,000, over 20,000 in Still County.
Yeah. So at your request, St. Mark's Cathedral has written a letter to Secretary Deb Hyland in Washington with the language that you provided us last year, and several of us have signed the petition that you're describing.
Yeah.
You can access the petition advocating for the Duwamish tribe at theduwamishtribe.org, their website. It's also linked on the St. Mark's website as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Whoever lives in this city are people of our history, mm-hmm. and I know that they care because look at how many renters we got, and over 100,000 have signed the petition.
Right.
And it's still counting too.
Yeah.
So if I happen to be in a lobby in our longhouse, I say, "Oh, I'm nice meeting you, and please sign in. Yeah. the guest book, yeah. Because we have told people, and we've had people come from all over the country or all over the world, and they find us and they sign in. Mm-hmm. So we're not just a little tiny longhouse that nobody knows where it is, even though we're on the side of the river. Let's pray that the bridge gets fixed this year, you guys.
Any West Seattleites agree with her on that?
We have to pray to get that bridge ready. My gosh.
Yeah.
Because outside our longhouse is like a second I-5. Yeah. Anyway, I got sidetracked.
Yeah. So before we open it to participants to ask you questions, Chair Hansen, speaking of the Longhouse and the land around it and the Ha'apus Park across the street, which you cannot cross that street right now safely, walking across it, because of the traffic, but it's a beautiful area. So tell us what all's happening at the Longhouse and around it, and how would you encourage us to engage the experience of the Longhouse as groups such as ours from St. Mark's who might want to come down?
Well, we opened our Longhouse in 2019, and one thing that we were really concerned is about the traffic coming across from parking and everything else. And they did put a signal, but it's not on Alaska, which is where our longhouse. But another thing, we were able to purchase land north of us, because I used to brag around. We have a 2/3 of an acre that we own, and it's all paid for. Then I was saying, geez, we gave up 54,000 acres when our people signed a treaty, but now we own 2/3 of an acre, which is where the longhouse is. But we were able to purchase the land forward, and we want to develop that where we can have programs to help the public, and not our tribe, but people in the city. And we wanted to have our longhouse across the street, the park, but the Port of Seattle, who owns that land, said, no, we have to ask we have to ask the neighbors, and it was like the Muckleshoot and the thing, they said no, which I was very saddened to hear. But Port of Seattle, and the thing is that there's an archaeological site across there where I know that it's on the National Register, and that's where we wanted to build the longhouses over there near the river. But it's okay. There's no coincidence that it's there because we're close to the Duwamish River, so
Right.
we're happy.
Good.
And then we're going to expand on programs once we start being able to get the planners to do that, to where we're able to help people here in the city, because I think we need that more help today.
Yeah.
And and like I said, I hope that we're able to help those people that need the help, or anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knock on the door, we'll help you.
Yeah. And if you've not been to the Longhouse lately, there's a wonderful cultural exhibit of the Duwamish relics that are there, and artifacts and present-day things, and tells the story as well. It's really quite well done. Yeah. So let's open it up to people. Emily will have the microphone. If you want to ask a question, we would ask that you raise your hand. She'll come to you. If you'll stand and address Chair Hansen. Maybe avoid a long soliloquy and get to your question so that anyone who has a desire to ask a question will have a chance to.
Hello. So I don't live in Seattle, I live in Marysville, and I was wondering if I should make people in Marysville aware of the Duwamish situation so that they can also sign the petition, and also visit the Longhouse. I was wondering if that was something I could do.
I don't.
If someone lives outside of Seattle, so she lives in Marysville, are they able to sign the petition, and should they try to be more aware of the Duwamish challenge?
Absolutely. We don't care where you're at. If you well, no, really, I'm. It's not a joke. If you want to sign the petition, that is, I mean, you're going to go down in history of that you supported the Duwamish tribe by signing the petition.
And they'd be welcome to come to the Longhouse too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Evidently, you guys know everything.
I have a question. You mentioned your grandson, and I was just curious what conversations that you have with him about this, and how is he involved, and what is it that you want him to know about this for you?
What? No,
I was just mentioning, you mentioned your grandson, and I was wondering how he's involved in the work that you do.
Your grandson, how is he involved in the work that you do? And you mentioned talking with him. What kind of things are you teaching him?
Well, I got about 8 grandsons. What one? No, I was counting it up, I know, because when I pray every night for my grandsons, I start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 grandsons, and they're all adults, but they still need a prayer.
Yeah.
And to walk on that right path. So, is that what you?
Are they working in the tribe efforts as well?
Well, several years ago, I was at an event yesterday, and they gave me back, one of the gifts they gave me speaking yesterday at Seward Park. They gave me this gift, and it was a picture of the children. I started this, the language to bring it back, the Tilip Chutup group, speaking Lashutsi. And this is a picture of these kids in this photo they gave back to me, and I said, and now they're all grown up kids, because that was about 11, 12 years ago. So they're grown up now, and they're pursuing their whatever they're going to pursue as an adult, working, and so I don't see them very much. I kind of miss them, because the only one that really keeps in contact with is my oldest grandson, and I always say to him, he's my favorite because I had 5 daughters and no sons, and so he's my favorite. And anyway, but he calls me, and I call him, and I let everybody know he's my favorite grandson.
Good.
You talked about being in Washington, D.C., and I'm wondering what kind of support you're getting from our congressional delegation, the 2 senators and the members of the House.
Good question. Absolutely nothing. They're not committed. They're not speaking out. So perhaps maybe it would be. I think that if you care enough, you might pursue and ask them too. I mean, it's really unfortunate that knocking on those doors, we never got the positive added that we should have. And I know that they're busy and there's a lot of things going on, but it'd be nice if we could get. In fact, we had this one gentleman who was working. He was trying to present a bill on this, and he could never get it through the channels of what you do to get a bill passed on our behalf. And that was kind of sad, but the man was very dedicated in trying to pursue. And I can't think of that representative who was doing that for me. Been several years ago. Yeah. No, we don't have anybody positive from D.C. I'm going to have a council meeting on Tuesday, and I'm going to ask the council. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to advise him that we need to join the National Congress of American Indians, which was a group that we belonged to. And I used to go to all these meetings, and they were all over the place, down south, back east, and everything. And when you join that organization, it's all the tribes of the United States, where they all stick together as Indian people because they're national. And I think that we need that support too. We stepped away for a while, which at least I did, and I was traveling all over, going to these meetings and affiliated tribes. And it'd be nice to, I know that leadership has changed, and it'd be nice to who are leading these tribes all over the United States now. I know some of the leaders today, but they've stepped aside now and moved on to other business in their tribe. But yeah, so if you feel moved, even our delegation here in our city here, as you know, it's Murray and what's the other one? Cantwell. Nothing.
Chair Hansen, thank you so much for being with us this evening. I want to ask you about land acknowledgements. Many organizations in this area have a land acknowledgement, and many of those explicitly mention the Duwamish. St. Mark's does, for example. Few of those organizations are going as far as St. Mark's is with steps such as real rent, signing the petition, etc. But many talk about the land acknowledgement is only a first step. So my question is, are these land acknowledgements really meaningful to you and the tribe? And what steps should organizations take who say that they want to go more than just the acknowledgement?
Well, I don't like saying recognition because I felt that we're the first tribe to sign the Point Elliott Treaty. We are recognized. And because they turned us down after we presented our petition to the United States and the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and we were what's the word I'm looking for? Where we were rejected. I said we need to go and tell them that we are who we are, and we are to be acknowledged by the federal government. If you're recognized, you get what they said in the treaty, which they failed to do that. They still haven't done that yet. If you sign a treaty, you get land, you get education, you get health, you get all the benefits as a recognized tribe, and land. And it's really unfortunate. I mean, I'm not complaining because I'm happy we got our 2/3 of an acre, and actually we bought more property, so we will be developing and doing things for the community. But it's a sad thing. In my position, I feel we're recognized. I mean, because we are. Mm-hmm. We just need to be acknowledged. I don't know if that helps you answer that question, sir, but you ought to come down to Longhouse. Come down and we'll talk.
Do you feel like organizations like St. Mark's and many other organizations that now are employing land acknowledgement, does the tribe consider that beneficial or helpful?
Yeah, I feel it is. I think we should be speaking up and and acknowledging, and I would hope that this St. Mark's would be our ally to the people who are being so objective to the tribe, getting their acknowledgement back.
Yeah.
Because you have a big voice too. I mean,
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things I was hoping that you can speak up about it, because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Wendy, I think Wendy up here.
I was just at the Seattle Art Museum and saw the exhibit, Our Blue Planet, and Ken Workman from your tribe introduces it. And there's a beautiful film of the Duwamish River and its people and the Salish Sea. And I would love to hear a little more about the Duwamish connection to the river and to the coastal waterways here.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, she was referencing Seattle Art Museum has got a new exhibit about creation care, and there is a featured video that has an intro by Ken Workman, tribal member. And can you say a bit more about the role that the river plays in the life of the tribe and the Salish waters?
Good question, and I'll tell you, it's really sad that Duwamish River is where our people are fishing, but we're not allowed to fish in that river, and it's polluted. And the people who are allowed to fish in that river is the Muckleshoots. It's really, really sad, but we're not allowed to fish, and that's one reason. If we get recognized, I don't know if they're going to give back our fishing right, but the river is polluted, and I have a sense that the people are fishing in the river. Are they selling that fish, and who's selling it? I mean, it's really sad that river should be cleaned up. And that was the reason that we got in the big battle of being recognized, acknowledged, thinking that we're going to get our fishing rights back, and that didn't happen. But we're not allowed to fish in that river. And that's okay now. I mean, that's a sad story too. Thank you, my dear, for bringing that up. Yeah. Ken Workman was with me yesterday. He speaks the language, and I'm an urban native, and when my folks moved to Seattle, my dad is Quinault and Chinook and Collins, and of course I'm Duwamish, Akamish, and French, Italian, and German, all that, which I am. But my folks never spoke the language, and for Ken to live and be from Alki and to learn the Lushootse, not the Lushootse language, is marvelous, which he does share, and he shared yesterday when we were at Seward Park, and he gave land acknowledgement, and I asked him if he would come and share a little bit, because we were at Seward Park. And to imagine that we were at Seward Park and that long time ago, hundreds of years ago, when our people used to travel by canoes. I know they must have came into that park, and as they traveled from White River and Green River and the Duwamish and everything, they went over to, wasn't Seward Park, but it's a beautiful park. Anyway, that's where we were yesterday. Yeah.
And there were villages
There
all
were-
along that
yeah,
coast
there
of
were-
Lake Washington there.
Yeah, there were villages all over, which they burned all our longhouses and thinking we're going to go away, but we're still here.
Yeah.
So, Chair Hansen, thanks again for being here. Back to the issue of our delegation, would you welcome us writing letters, like individual letters, because more letters, might get noticed, or emails, or set up meetings with our representatives? And anyway, would you welcome that?
Writing letters.
Writing letters to the congressional delegation. Would you welcome that from allies such as us or not?
I would challenge them. Why don't you? See, what the sad part about all this is, and that politics. Yeah, you should ask Murray, Senator Murray,
And Cantwell.
and
yeah.
Cantwell. You should ask him that question.
And Congresswoman
Challenge him. Yeah,
Jayapal.
challenge him. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. I love that. You can do it. You're a citizen and you can do it.
Chair Hansen, thank you for coming tonight. I have not been able to visit your longhouse yet. Can you tell us what we might experience if we do come down? And in particular, maybe you could tell us about tribal art that might be there?
He was asking, could you describe what he would experience if he visited the Longhouse, and what kind of art is there that he would be able to engage?
What kind of art? What kind of art is there?
What kind of art is at the Longhouse? Yeah.
Well, one thing that is there now, we got really excited. We had one of the display that's sitting there in the lobby now is now Chief Seattle's hat, which we bought. We had to buy that hat back. I don't know what it was at, what is that store that was down the waterfront? Yes, thank you. And instead of giving it to us, I mean, I'm not complaining, but we had the money, so we're able to buy it back. So now in the lobby, here is the chief's hat. And so it's really wonderful that we have that and everybody can see that. And the people that have created the exhibits, it's supposed to show about Native American and the concept, how they listed and what did they use. Too bad. And also we got a couple of canoes in there too, One of our other canoes is that we can't display it in because it's across the street in the warehouse, but because we traveled by canoe. And so we have canoes all over the place in the brush. No, but anyway, we do have canoes. And if you have to come and just look at what we have there today, because we have got exhibits that have been shared with us from other people, and then we're able to display it. And you've been there. Have you been there? Come, be my guest. Come on down. Please come down. And does everybody know where the Longhouse is on West Marginal Way? Yes. Please come down there and visit us. Yeah.
One of the most remarkable things that I found there, there's a map on the wall that shows the places where longhouses were before they were destroyed in the early 1900s. And literally just all over what we now consider Seattle and Seward Park and Lake Washington and Lake Union and down on the river, and they were really all over this place.
Yes, there was, well, with the count that we got, it was over 50 longhouses along the waterways. And of course, they destroyed them all, but that doesn't mean that they weren't there before. There was one that we were protesting down in Renton. We didn't want them to disturb anything there, and so we protested. But they built a bunch of apartments there. But we knew that there was, and it was next to the Black River, where this longhouse was, and we know that it's been documented that around these longhouses is where they buried their people. So, but I don't know. I feel that our spirit of our people are all over. You may not see them, but they are. They're here. Yeah, yeah.
Time for one or two more questions.
Thank you for coming. My question is language in terms of when communicating with separate groups. One of the things that we both understand is science and traditional knowledge. Do you have efforts in terms of taking the Duwamish traditional knowledge to transfer it into a form for scientists to use to create that like communication with University of Washington or other groups so that more of what the Duwamish know is brought across?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love your question, but I didn't hear it, so.
Yeah, the echo where we
Yeah,
are up here,
yeah.
we don't get the volume right back at us.
Yeah.
So CJ is a marine scientist, and I think what she's asking is there's so much knowledge held within the Duwamish culture and tradition. Have y'all figured out a way to offer that in a translation to scientists, say, at the University of Washington, who might come to understand something in a new way because of the way the Duwamish have seen the water or the fish or the food supply?
Well, they built a building there, but they've sort of left us out on the curb about the history. So maybe you can challenge them about that. You know what I'm talking about, is that beautiful building that's on the university, but they certainly didn't advocate or bring the history of the tribe there, you know. I remember when I was I think I was 13 years old. I was taking Washington State history, and my mother said to me, she was a lady of few words. She said, "You're related to the chief." Well, I know what she was talking about. So I told my teacher, I said, what my mother said, and so they grabbed up our class and we went to the Burt Museum, and they put me in front of a teepee and they took my picture. Well, we didn't live in teepees, but I landed in the paper when I was 13, standing in front of the teepee. But that was quite an experience because my mother didn't have to do a lot of talking. My mother was a very caring person, but when she was 4 years old, she was taken away to the Indian boarding schools down in Oregon. So that's where she was raised until she was a young adult. And so she was kind of strict and very few words, but I know that she cared about raising my sister and my brothers regarding the history and letting us know who we are. And so it's amazing. I would say, and one thing my mother said to me, the truth is the truth. So I would say, don't be pulling anything about anything, because we had to tell the truth about anything, and don't you be, and no lying or anything, but you know, we all tend to do that once in a while, or fibs. But my mom was very strict too, because the truth is the truth. And so I think, because I don't make up this history of the city of Seattle. And I feel, just listening to my mother, as you know, she told me a long time ago, the truth is the truth.
Yeah. Speak the
So,
truth.
Speak the truth.
I think there's a scripture quote somewhere in there.
Yeah.
One more question. Doug.
Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you so much, Chair Hansen, for joining us tonight. Say a little bit about the younger generations in the tribe and the Duwamish, whether you see optimism, whether you see strength. How are the younger folks doing?
He's asking, could you comment on the younger folks in the tribe, and where do you see strength? Where do you see challenges for them?
Well, I know that every Sunday that we're doing cultural events like beating and making drums and everything. And many years ago when I started the group called the T-Lib Shut Up, and of course my kids, they all grew up there. I had quite a group, and we were just talking about it. I'm hoping that somebody will, in our organization, will want to, with the younger, another generation, to be beginning to speak the language and to sing our songs and start that up again, because that would be really marvelous. And but we always try to focus on the children too, and we have a potluck. We always have a Halloween party, and it's really amazing when all the kids show up. And of course, we always advocate to give toys for the children and everything. So, but our kids are kind of busy now, and I think that they're kind of disappointed that they've been out of school and they're just coming back and trying to revive that experience being back in school, because they weren't allowed to go to school during the COVID for a while, and I felt sorry for them and to be homeschooled, that doesn't get it either, So I hope that answers your question a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I'm mindful of the time, and you gave me the charge there. So
No, but if anybody has any other question, but I would invite anybody, challenge. If you want to write a letter, challenge the Muckleshoots and challenge the Suquamish. Why is there opposition? Since they don't want to answer any questions from me. I mean, some of my council people now, we traveled down there to meet with them, and they're down there in Auburn, and they wouldn't let us come into their meeting to ask them what is your problem? How can we fix it? We want to work with you. It's always been my position as Indian people. Indian people are supposed to, regardless if you got a difference, you all kind of hang together. Why do you have to be this division or division? Why do we have to have division? It shouldn't be that way. We should be very supportive of each other. I could be really, really cranky about it, but I have to pray for these people. I really have to pray for them, and because even though I don't get any answers, and maybe the answer will come pretty soon. Why do they not want to support Chief Seattle's people? We're not, and I can say for the record, we don't want to take anything from them. We just want their support, and let's all be friends and just be unified. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
We don't have to be. We don't have to have this problem. But since they don't want to ask questions, maybe somebody will find out what the answer is, and maybe we could fix it. But and if it is the gaming and the casinos, I just don't see us building us casinos here. If anything, we're just going to expand on our development of taking care of people here in Seattle. That's what we used to do, and we're going to continue to do that, and expand on our history of our people. And that's what we should be doing. It's amazing that more people don't know about us, but then I applaud the people who have signed the the petition for acknowledgement to come back with the history for the recognition, and that the real renters, because what the real renters did, that helps us to develop, to hire people to pursue our issues that are going on, and everything. Anyway, be our allies on pursuing what is the answer. Why is this going on? This opposition to the Duwamish people. I mean, we're still here, and it's kind of sad when I have to think about it. But anyway, we're still here, and so come on down to the Longhouse, and if I'm there, we'll still chat. We'll still, we'll interact.
Yeah.
Serve you a cup of tea or coffee, or I keep thinking one of the things I started when I was there, that I said, my mom never taught me how to do fried bread, so I was self-taught, and so then I started having classes, and people would sign up. No more than 6-7 people would sign up to do fried bread, and so I would teach them how to do it, and they fry it up and they eat it, and they said, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." And I said, "Well, you're the one that did it. I didn't do it." And my mother gave me, when I wanted the recipe for the fried bread, my mother was in California, and my folks moved down there, and she sent me the recipe, but she never allowed us to go in the kitchen, so I was self-taught how to make the fried bread. And so even if you want to come, I can make you a piece of fried bread. I can do it.
Who's in?
Do it. I can, and you can do it. I mean, if you want to sign up for a class, I haven't been able to do that for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And you can make the fried bread, but you don't go home, and you got to continue to make fried bread if you have a chance, because then you'll make it it'll taste wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah. So we encourage you to consider signing the petition. You can go to duwamishtribe.org, or, as I said, St. Mark's website has a link to it as well. Make it a point to visit the Longhouse, learn, and we have a couple of gifts for you in gratitude for...
Well, sure. There's any more questions? Because it's still light. If it's dark and I'm saying, I got to get out of here. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, when it's dark, people are in a hurry, and they just zip, 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 and they're rude.
Yep.
They're very rude.
So Chair Hansen told me she wanted to get home before dark, but she's now opening it back up if anyone has a comment or a question. A couple of more here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not dark yet, but when
it's
it
not
starts
dark
to get
yet.
dark, yeah.
And Bishop, when we wrap up, I'm going to ask if you would come forward and offer a blessing for us. Thank you.
So I was also wondering, so I like to do a lot of community service projects. I'm in the Lake Stevens Aquafest pageant, and I was wondering if we could do any community service to help educate people on the Duwamish people, or anything that we could do. I was wondering if there's any opportunities to help there for like young adults and stuff.
She's asking, are there community service opportunities that someone could volunteer to help?
Oh, absolutely. Just call and talk to our desk person, Melissa, and we could use anybody there. In fact, I heard that they were going to have a tea, and I started that many years ago, so I wasn't too encouraged about the tea party, and so anyway, I got an email that said it was all sold up, so we're having a tea party, and David Berge is going to be one of my special guests, but anyway, anybody, you're all welcome to come down there. Not all at the same time.
Not all at once.
But you're welcome to come down there.
We'll coordinate that. Yeah. We'll coordinate it. So that we're not all at once.
Does that answer her question then?
I think
a little
so.
bit?
Yeah, contact the Longhouse and
Yeah.
they'll put you in
Oh,
touch with.
absolutely. We could
Yeah.
use volunteers to help in any event that's going on. Yeah, we love them.
I think the last time I was there, I saw a group that you said y'all purchased the land just north of the Longhouse, and I think there was a group working on, I don't know if they were cutting a path there or taking out invasive species of plants, or there was a group working
Yeah.
kind of garden work.
Yeah, all around. We don't own the property behind us, but the property next to the house that now we're taking care of that. Now we own the property north of our longhouse now that we're going to develop. And I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
They said they're going to have a copy shop or something there, so I hope that happens. And then somebody said, well, we can have a fried bread stand. I said, well, fine. Well, I've got a lot of people that knows how to do fried bread. We could do that. That would be wonderful. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Kathy Sodergren, did you have a question?
You speak frequently about the tribes that are anti-Duwamish. Are these conflicts over hundreds of years, or is this something relatively recent now that you're trying to?
She's asking the tension with other tribes like the Muckleshoot. Are those long-standing disagreements, or are those more recent developments?
Just they're recent, and I think it's because I think it happened after 1983 when gaming was allowed here, and in fact, this is an interesting story. You have to be recognized to have a casino. And I had a couple investors show up, and it was very nice. Somebody took us to dinner. But one of the investors that showed up, it was a lawyer, 2 lawyers that showed up, and they were from the Trump organization. But if he had any common sense, these investors that showed up to talk to me about it, you have to be recognized to have a casino. So there was no way that we could have had a casino because we're not recognized or we don't acknowledge. But anyway, you have to be recognized to have a casino.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the concern about the opposition coming from this tribe, I really believe it, even though it hasn't been advocated or we haven't proved it, it is the money and the casino business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is no place to build a casino here. Can you tell me if we build, where would we build one anyway? Where? I don't want any casino on our property.
Well, I heard a rumor that you wanted to build it in the middle of
Elliott Bay. It would be, but that's kind of interesting. Well, I was just thinking, now this came to me. I mean, if we had the property across the street, we could build a casino there. But no, no. We wanted to. If we ever get that land over there, we want to develop that with a, to encourage the public to come and visit us.
Yeah.
We'd have something going on there. How to build a canoe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway.
All right, Hisako.
Thank you for coming. I used to go to the concert at the Longhouse quite frequently, and I wonder if something new coming up. It's a native flute and things that was beautiful, and it was packed every time I go there. I think maybe like a weekly or every other week, and I used to go there after work, and really enjoyed it.
Okay.
There used to be concerts at the Longhouse, and she remembered going to them, and they would just be packed, and there would be food there. And are the concerts going to come back as we come out of COVID, or?
Of course, everything is opening up. We're going to encourage to have concerts and at our longhouse. Yeah, that's really great. We always have a full house when we can only have so many in there, but we do have concert there, and even there wasn't a crowd there, but the governor came and he signed some bill. I don't know what the bill was because that was some time ago, but at least the governor came there one time recently, and I think it was last fall, and they signed a bill. I'm not sure what the bill was, but yeah. Anyway. I'm glad you brought that up because yes, we've had a lot of concerts, and we're going to encourage it because things are starting to open up, and we want that. When the only thing is that was kind of issue. Now we have property north where the parking was really not all that great, so now we have parking up in the north before. Yeah, so that's looking good for on the behalf of programs, projected programs coming up. Yeah.
Good.
Anyway.
May I present you with a couple of gifts here? Yeah. We are really grateful for you coming, Chair Hansen, and the quilt ministry here at St. Mark's hand-stitched this quilt, and we would like to offer this to you in gratitude for your coming with us tonight.
Thank you very much. I was looking at the quilt that my girlfriend built for me several years ago, and I said, I need another quilt.
Well, here it is.
Thank you. It's really beautiful.
And then this is,
Thank you.
Wow. This is a jar of honey from the honeybees here on the cathedral roof.
Oh my gosh.
We call it holy honey. Great
I love
for Indian fried bread.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
And then last, Chair Hansen, we just want to offer a check in support of the Duwamish Tribal Services in gratitude for all that y'all are doing and calling us into an allyship with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am so honored that you have come out to hear a few words about the Duwamish, and I hope that I was able to. I'm having problems with the acoustics.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Yeah. So anyway, so forgive me, but you got to remember I'm old. I'm an elder now.
You are perfectly fine. Will you all recognize and acknowledge?
Wow. You know, it's not me. You honor the people of the Duwamish, and I love you all. Please come down to the Longhouse and ask for a cup of tea, and we'll have a good time.
I'm going to take you up on it. I'm going to take you up on it. How many are going to take her up on it?
Here.
Okay, take names. They're going to come and have coffee with you, okay?
Or tea, or whatever. And then if you have a lot of time,
all right, we'll explore or whatever. That'll be fun.
No, if you come and spend the afternoon, maybe we could have a little fried bread.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I may follow you out the door on that.
All right.
I want to offer a blessing, and I want to, if you're willing to, will you hold our hands because we get wisdom from you.
Okay.
I'm hoping it just wears off, like right in my hands.
Oh.
The Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Holy One, we thank you for this day and for adding it to our lives. And we thank you for the Honorable Cecile Hansen, Chair of the Duwamish Tribe. We give thanks for the Duwamish Tribe, for the people who are still here. And we pray that not only for recognition and restoration, but for reconciliation among all the people. Amongst the great wisdom that we heard tonight, perhaps the greatest is, if you listen, you will learn. And I pray that we would all listen more and learn more, but most especially that we will walk out these doors tonight and do more and put into action what she has shared with us this night.
We give thanks for your wisdom and for your presence. And now, I pray that God would bless us all as we leave this place and walk this land. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank
do it
you.
every once in a while. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
you all.
wow.
Cecile Hansen.